Good evening. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. We wanted to do a kind of an emergency update here with you. The reason I'm calling it an emergency update is because we have some trends in the data. I'm sure you guys have seen our post that the ice accumulations are increasing or look to be increasing in some portions of Kentucky to a status where it may become a bit of damaging or life-threatening. So I want to make sure I talk with you all about that in depth this evening. Of course, we have kind of a little bit of a break for most of you right now. Some of you are still seeing snow, sleet, or freezing rain has now entered into southern Kentucky. We do expect that this will continue to kind of increase over the next few hours. Of course, we've maintained throughout this entire kind of event. This is probably going to be a two-parter. So right now you're kind of seeing your break, if you will. Today was always supposed to be a light snow. I don't know where the sudden confusion came from on that, where people were expecting all the snow to happen today. We've been trying to say this is kind of a 2-day thing here, and that's definitely the case. By the way, are we live on YouTube right now? It's not showing up for me. Are we live on YouTube? Before I get like really rolling in here, for some reason it's not showing up for me. Yeah, we are. Okay, why are my chats not working? I cannot see any of the chats. Okay, hang on, let me fix this real quick. Dashboard. I don't know why I can't see any of the chats. Why are none of the chats working? Okay. This isn't great. None of the chats are working on my stream dashboard. Okay, well I will fix that here in a little bit. Right now I want to try to kind of get focused on in here so we can kind of get some things rolling. Thank you all again for tuning in here. Once again, obviously, we are going live tonight for kind of an emergency update here and to talk to you with you about the latest. If you would not mind, share the video. That's the arrow at the bottom portion of your screen. You can share it on your news feed so that your friends and family can get the latest as well. First thing I want to start by saying here is I know the forecast has been incorrect so far, okay? There's no kind of denying that. But I also want to say there were some unrealistic expectations that a lot of people thought the most of the snowfall was supposed to come today. That's never been the case. The heaviest of this whole kind of event is tonight, late tonight, and overnight into Sunday. That's always been the heaviest of the event. So my question or my ask of you is to not really judge me until the event gets over. I don't want to go into detail, but it's just been kind of crazy what I've seen on the internet today in our comment sections. And I'm not going to go on a whole soapbox. But I just want to say, we obviously know the forecast downtrending is frustrating. It's not just frustrating for you, it's frustrating for us. And you're tired of hearing of all the updates. You want a final answer. The God's honest truth, guys, is when you're dealing with an event like this, I've told you this since Wednesday. No one's forecast is going to be perfect. No one's forecast is going to be close to perfect. I've seen some people in Kentucky forecasting 15 to 20 inches for most of the state. That was never going to happen. But here we are. So, it's no one's forecast is going to be great. I just want to let that be known right now. We know it. We own it. Now all we can do is update you on the latest. So we hope that you heed these warnings that we're about to give you. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll get the chat section working later. Right now I can see Facebook's chat. I can't see YouTube's chat, but I'll promise you guys I will fix that. And we will have a little bit of a Q&A toward the end of the broadcast. So if you're wanting to ask questions and whatnot, I will try and answer as many questions as possible. Until we get to the point where I just feel like we're kind of repeating ourselves. Okay, so right now on your screen right now, we obviously have the radar. And the radar here, it's a little bit different than the model data. So listen up. This red is your freezing rain. This purple is your sleet. And you can see it's already kind of mixing into Kentucky. And this blue is obviously your snowfall. Notice our heavier snowfall zone has always been in northern Kentucky, the northern half. That is currently where it has not really stopped snowing in the last few hours. It is still constantly snowing there. So for the northern half of Kentucky, I still feel pretty good about our forecast. This bottom half of Kentucky, we're already starting to see some freezing rain and sleet begin to mix in. This was always the case. We told you it would be after sunset on Saturday. Here we are after sunset on Saturday, and now we're seeing some of that mixing occurring in the southern half of Kentucky. By the way, if there are any moderators in here, there is a zero tolerance tonight. Just go ahead and ban anybody that's being ridiculous, even if it's borderline. There's zero tolerance tonight. This is a more serious broadcast. All right, let's go ahead and kind of just show you what's happening on the radar here. Obviously, this is a little bit of a dry slot, but that is to be expected. Remember, we told you this was going to happen. 2 parts. One was our first one earlier today. It's now out toward the eastern coast. And here comes our second one kind of starting up out here. And you can already notice it's looking a little bit messy. But there is more snow than freezing rain or sleet right now. If that trend continues, obviously, it's a little bit more snowy for Kentucky. I don't think that trend continues because we're already seeing that warm nose really just kind of shove its way up into, Tennessee and eventually up into Kentucky. By the way, Tennessee, if you have any friends or family down there, I hope that they are doing all right because they have a large ice storm expected to go through down there into Tennessee. As for us, once again, kind of zooming this back out here. And of course, I'll show you the model data and everything as well. You guys know how it rolls. But right now, we're just kind of getting started. So if you have just now joined in on us, you have not really missed anything. We really just now gotten started. Here is our second wave. It's coming from the Baja Low, and you'll see it kind of just wiggle its way on over here. At the same time, there is moisture being fed from the Gulf coming up into Kentucky. That's the reason why we're switching over from snow to freezing rain and sleet for most of you. It's going to be 10 to 15 degrees at the ground. You're going to walk outside and wonder, how is it raining? Well, because there's different layers of the atmosphere, right? It's like a cake. It's like a layered cake. And if even one of those layers is slightly at 32 or 33 degrees or above, well, it's going to melt that snowflake that starts all the way up here, melts it into a raindrop or a sleet pellet, and then it hits the ground. So for our case, about a mile above our heads, about a mile and a quarter if you want to be more precise, is where the layer is that is above freezing. And it's not much. Genuinely, it's about 33.5 degrees right now. And what we're going to be dealing with. It's really not going above freezing by much. It was that close. And that's what I'm telling you guys. It was that close to being a historic snowfall for all of Kentucky. Instead, it will be just obviously for northern Kentucky and then into Indiana and, of course, Illinois. I'm telling you, it was that close. That's why I told you guys all week, guys, it's going to be real, real close. And it could go either way here. Matter of fact, in our first headline that we made about this storm, it literally said boom or bust. Like it was that close the entire time. So that's how the radar looks right now. We expect all those dry slots to fill in, and eventually it's going to be a very heavy sleet, very heavy freezing rain, and very heavy snowfall for Kentucky late tonight going into Sunday morning. So let's show you that on the model data. So here is the model data on your screen. Right now, we're going to look at the rapid refresh model because I think this model, out of all, has a decent handle on kind of the warm layer. I do think it might be overdoing the liquid a little bit, so the amounts might be a little bit more ridiculous than we expect them to be. But I think overall it has a pretty good handle on where the liquid's going to go. On this map, your pink is your freezing rain, your orange is your sleet, your blue is your snow. I know it's a little bit confusing because it's different from the radar, but once again, your pink is your freezing rain, orange is your sleet, blue is your snow. And I want to say thank you to everyone that's sharing the broadcast, helping us get this new information out. Thank you very much for helping us because you quite literally could be saving a life. So let's go ahead and roll through the data here. This is valid for right now. Yeah, right now, right there. And you can see it's doing okay. It's doing okay. So we see an orange sleet band between Bowling Green to Barberville, stretching over to Murray, pretty much all freezing rain in Tennessee, and snow in Kentucky. You could tell, once again, obviously, it has a little bit more liquid with it than we currently are seeing. Because if we go look at the radar, it's got the spots of the boundaries pretty well, but it's trying to fill in snow where there's currently no snow at. So that kind of tells us this model is doing well on where the freezing line is, but it's not doing well on exactly how much liquid is involved. But the important thing we want to look at right now on this model is where that freezing line is and what type of precipits are kind of setting up with it. All right. So advance this forward. This is valid for about 9 p.m. It steadily and slowly brings that freezing line up into northern or the central portions of Kentucky, Campbellsville, getting over toward Munfordville, and going over just north of Murray, Bowling Green, and Barberville, obviously in that freezing rain. Once again, pink freezing rain, orange sleet, blue is snow. Advance this forward. This is valid for about 11 p.m. or so. You can see that freezing line is now getting close to or inside of Hardin County, Madisonville, Danville, just south of West Liberty. Pink freezing rain still is ongoing in southern Kentucky. By about 1 a.m. on Sunday, this is where things get a little bit hairy because this is where the models really differ. Some models have this freezing line all the way to the north into Indiana near the Ohio River. Some of these models have it south of this, and this model is kind of in the middle of all those models. So that's why we're also kind of rolling with this as well, because this is just a nice compromise of all the models. Unfortunately, it does mean a heavy freezing rain is still ongoing for Bowling Green, Barberville, Pikeville, Campbellsville, and Murray. It's heavy sleet. By the way, you do not want to be outside when the sleet is falling. This is like shredded ice being thrown down really heavy, and we're going to have some decent winds, and it's going to be coming down incredibly heavy. You see how dark that orange is? And how light that, or how dark that orange is toward Lexington, and how light this orange is down here for like Litchfield. That dark orange to brown is almost maxed out on how hard that sleet can fall. I mean, it's going to hurt if you're outside. So please try to not go outside late tonight. Advancing this forward to 3 a.m., you'll see that line has now creeped up into Jefferson County, just north of Lexington as well, getting close to Owensboro, Madisonville, and then of course freezing rain is just below that. This is something else the models kind of differ on. A lot of the models have the sleet line to be a little bit more wide than what it's trying to show here. Let me show you. So a lot of the models have the sleet line kind of a little bit wider. I know this is kind of a thin marker here, but just kind of bear with it. So a lot of the models have it kind of wider to fill in that whole blue circle, and then below that would be freezing rain. So this is kind of where the models are different a little bit as well. Just, again, we're kind of taking the compromise of the models here. Advance this forward to 5 a.m. on Sunday. You'll see that sleet and kind of freezing rain are kind of battling back and forth on which one wants to fall. Whichever one it is going to create issues. So I know we're not getting as much snowfall as everyone kind of hoped for and as most people advertise just like us. But the impact is still the same, if not worse. Because when you're dealing with a sleet and freezing rain combination, with snow underneath, and we'll have some backside snow tomorrow most likely for a lot of you. It is a disgusting layer on the roads. It is heavy on infrastructure, and it is just a nasty scenario. So I do also want to say, for those of you that went to the grocery store, for those of you that made the time to take those took the time to make those preparations, you did not waste your time or money, because even though we're seeing less snowfall, something's going to fall out of that sky, and it's going to be frozen. And so you did not waste your time. The impact is probably even greater than we anticipated. So advancing this forward to 7 a.m., that's something, by the way, that's being lost in all this. Everyone's focused on the snow, and I understand it. We all love snow. We all want snow. In this situation, snow is much more preferred than ice. But again, the impact is going to be greater if we see freezing rain or sleet, and more so than we see snow. We're rooting for snow here. We would love to tell you there was more snow, but there's just not. Advancing us forward to 7 a.m. on Sunday, you'll see that snow and sleet line is now starting to battle a little bit, looking out toward Madisonville, E-Town, Louisville. By the way, once again, I want you to notice where our heaviest zone of snow was in northern half of Kentucky toward the Ohio River. It is an all snow at this point. So that's why we still feel pretty confident about that. You'll be on the lower side of those ranges, obviously, because some sleet mixed in. But we still feel pretty good about where our zone placement was. Advance us forward to 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Heavy snowfall now is trying to fight back in E-Town by this time at 9 a.m. Of course, a moderate to heavy snowfall still ongoing in Owensboro, Madisonville, Owenston, and Florence. But again, really want to point out, this is now going on 12 hours that Bowling Green has seen freezing rain, 10 hours for Campbellsville, 12 hours for Barberville. Murray's now finally getting out of the freezing rain after about 12 hours itself. It's trying to show freezing rain and sleet still ongoing in Lexington, West Liberty, Ashland. So again, we're still having prolonged periods of freezing rain and sleet here. Advancing us forward to about 11 a.m. on Sunday, you'll still see heavy snowfall ongoing in E-Town, Louisville, Owenston, Florence, Owensboro, Madisonville. So again, want to point out, today was not the only snowfall you're going to see. We're going to see more snow on the backside. So again, hold off on judging us until after it's all done. Danville, Campbellsville, Bowling Green, Lexington, Ashland, once again in that mixture of freezing rain and sleet. And again, this is why we started pointing out Glasgow, Edmonton, to Bowling Green, to Campbellsville, that little corridor there. You obviously see on the model data, it's the longest, that area has the longest time in the freezing rain. So again, when you have that much freezing rain, guys, it causes a lot of problems. I know 2009 was a long time ago, and I'm not comparing this to 2009, by the way. That was a historic storm that will hopefully never happen again. I'm just saying we all know the impacts that come from freezing rain. And when you're dealing with Bowling Green, Campbellsville, Glasgow, that sort of south central Kentucky area there, getting close to 3/4, if not up toward an inch. Not saying you're going to get an inch, but up toward an inch of freezing rain. Guys, it's brutal. It's brutal. You have to prepare for power outages. They won't only just maybe happen. They will happen. And it's also incredibly heavy on power lines, infrastructure, trees. It's just a mess. So I know, again, we're all focused on snow, guys. I know we are, but I'm telling you, this is a dangerous situation that's developing. Advancing this forward to around 1 p.m. on Sunday, it's still ongoing with heavy snowfall for E-Town, Owensboro, Madisonville, Louisville, Owenton, Florence, and Murray. Bowling Green's finally out of the freezing rain, but now they are in sleet. Campbellsville, Danville, West Liberty still in that freezing rain, and this will continue to scoot east on Sunday. This is valid for 3 p.m. Exactly when everyone switches over is still a little bit up in the air as well. Again, the models have not handled this well. Obviously, with the forecast being wrong, our forecast comes from the model data, and the model data obviously has not been all that great so far. So make sure you're taking everything you're seeing kind of with a grain of salt. But I will say this model has been really consistent so far with this kind of just timing idea of like the different changeovers. Advance this forward to 5 to 6 p.m. You'll see it's kind of starting to taper off with the precipitation because now we have that Arctic air really swinging in. And what that does is, as you kind of see this backside here, all of these concaves, that's the dry air kind of eating away at the precipitation. So it starts to dry out a little bit. This is valid for 6 to 7 p.m. It's now starting to exit the state. Some models, like this rapid refresh model, is trying to show some like backside snow squalls late Sunday night to early Monday morning. The HRRR model is also showing this. Good help to kind of bounce back on some of those snow totals a little bit, but I would not bet on it overly too much. So again, for most of you, late Sunday night, this finally ends. Here are the totals from this model here. And again, I think it's underdoing the sleet. It's trying to show a widespread of 1 to 3 inches of sleet. There's probably going to be someone out there or quite a few areas that pushes 4 to 5 inches of sleet out of this. I mean, it's going to be a lot of sleet. And that's never a good thing because sleet takes forever to melt. And we're already going to have sub-freezing temperatures. It takes forever to melt. It's very resilient to the ice melt and the salt that a lot of those road crews use. Advancing this for the freezing rain, it's getting a little aggressive with it. I think this might be a little bit overdone, and you always have to take about 20 to 30% off of these numbers to really understand what it might actually be trying to show. So this is probably a little bit overdone, but it's trying to show a stout near ice storm for a lot of south central Kentucky. Once again, like that Edmonton area, getting toward Glasgow, getting towards Somerset, Campbellsville, Bowling Green. It's trying to show just a dangerous level of ice. Okay, and that's why we kind of trigger this emergency broadcast, because I want you guys to see it for yourselves here. It's showing about a 1/4 inch up toward E-Town, 1/4 inch toward Litchfield, about a 1/2 inch toward Hopkinsville and Murray, 1/2 inch toward Danville. Again, approaching 1/4 or about a 1/2 inch or a little bit more toward West Liberty. This area out in eastern Kentucky is going to be a little bit interesting because if you remember back to the model that I showed you here, I'm going to kind of pull it back here a little bit and show you. I'll get that off the screen. Pull this back. See how it's trying to show regular rain? So for Somerset, Barberville, Hazard, Plaqueville, and West Liberty, this has been a common theme. This far eastern Kentucky portion of the area, this has been a common theme on the model data. It's trying to show a regular rain, and that's probably going to happen. So that's good and bad. Bad because it's going to freeze anyway to the ground immediately once the storm ends or once you switch back over toward that freezing rain. And that sleet, remember, this will all slide east. You will eventually freeze back over again. But it's good because regular rain passes through the power lines. So, the power concern is not as great. It's still high, but it's not as great for eastern Kentucky. But you will still, once again, I want to point out, even though it's regular rain showing up on the radar here or on the model data here, this will still freeze on the ground, especially once you kind of switch back over toward that more frozen precip Sunday night. But again, a regular rain is still good because it allows it to at least pass through the power lines. Unlike these people in pink, where they never see the regular rain, they just see a constant freezing rain for hours and hours and hours and hours. Here are the snowfall totals from this model here. It's still trying to hold on. I mean, I don't think this is going to be, this high. But this is why I'm telling you guys, please, please, please wait to judge us until this is over. Because some of the data is still trying to hold on to some impressive snowfalls. I'm telling you that second wave is way more juiced up than the first wave that we saw today. And that was always going to be the case. That's what I tried telling everybody. That's why I was really confused when I was reading the comments saying this is a buzz, we're all going to get dusting. Guys, that was like the pre-show. That's all that was today. And that's all it was ever going to be. And, again, I don't know if we get this high on the snowfall totals here. I think it's probably a little bit overdone. But, again, a lot of the model data is still trying to show this. Here is the HRRR model. I will show you its idea Let me pull it up here. It might take a second to load. Here we go. And you can still see, yeah, it's not as impressive as the rapid refresh for a lot of you, but it's still trying to show some decent snowfalls. I mean, 7 inches of, for example here, let's say E-Town ends up with 7 inches of snowfall, 2 inches of sleet, and a 1/4 inch of ice. That's a disgusting mess. That is a disgusting mess, and it's a crazy high impact, right? So that's why I kept telling everyone, like, slow down. We have a 36-hour-long event here. Stop judging based off the first 8 hours. It'll be, I mean, I think the forecast, obviously, it was a little bit overdone. I admitted that, and I pulled the forecast totals back down. But I still think we have more wintry precip to go through, a lot more. So, again, that's from the ARRR model. Here is the Canadian model, which has also been very consistent with its idea, and it's trying to show a crazy snowfall. I don't think 17 inches in Owensboro or Louisville is happening. But again, that's 3 models you now see showing some higher snowfall totals, exactly where we put them at in the forecast. Now, obviously, for the southern areas like E-Town, it's a little bit lower than we forecasted. Lexington, a little bit lower than we forecasted. But it's close. It's really close. It's not like this is a complete bust here. So, again, those are some of the totals. I do want to show you real quickly the going back to the ARRR model. I do want to show you its freezing rain totals and its sleet totals as well. So here are the sleet totals from the ARRR model. You can see it's a little bit more beefy than the rapid refresh model we showed you. It has a widespread. I didn't realize the map was off center. I'm sorry about that. Widespread 1 to 3, a little bit up to 4 there. I still think it's a little bit underdone. I still think you end up with a little bit more sleet here in this scenario. But you can see widespread 1 to 3 inches of sleet. Let's go ahead and show you the freezing rain here on this model. And you can see it's pretty similar, a little bit less on the ice totals, which is always a good sign. I think it's pretty close. I think it's pretty close. You can see it's pretty much the same areas, so we do have some consistency. It's pretty much the same areas. Of course, with the heaviest area still being that Edmonton, Campbellsville, Bowling Green kind of section over towards Somerset a little bit. So we do have some consistency. Now, there is still one model that is kind of just, I don't know what it's doing. But it is technically the best model to use in this scenario, okay? And here's its sleet idea. It is showing a whopping, I mean, what even is that? It won't even generate for me. That's got to be 4 to 5 inches, going up the key up here to the top right. Yeah, that's 4 to 5 inches of sleet, just all thrown around. Now, this model does overdo sleet a little bit. This is the important thing. You have to know the flaws and greatnesses of each individual model. But it does show a widespread, large amount of sleet. Once again, a large amount of sleet. This dark brown contour that you're seeing here is like 4 to 6 inches of pure sleet. That might be a little bit overdone, but I do think the sleet idea is more accurate. Here it is showing freezing rain. This is not accurate. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. That's not even remote. I forgot to tell him about that glitch. That's that same glitch from the last broadcast, if you guys remember that. But you can see, well, I'll turn it back on. You can see the heaviest areas is still Bowling Green, Edmonton, and Campbellsville. It has some crazy numbers up here toward Moorhead, Lexington, Danville. I don't believe that at all. I think it's just, again, a glitch. Here is its snowfall idea. And you can tell it's pretty much the same areas, a little bit more north. But that's because it has the warm nose coming way further north than any other model is showing. Again, I don't know how much I believe that, but it's still trying to show a widespread 8 to 12 inches for the kind of the Ohio River area, 6 to kind of 8 inches for this kind of central Kentucky area. The purple that you're seeing there is the 8-inch total. So it's very close to our forecast. It's not like it's a complete like flop here, guys. Everything is very close. I mean, and you can still see those subtle shifts back to the south, and maybe we're back into it. I wouldn't count on it at this point. But it's that close. It really is that freaking close, guys. I can't explain to you how close it is. So that's the model data. Here is the forecast that we put out just a little bit ago in case you didn't see it on our page. I want to kind of break this down a little bit as well because I had to turn the comment section off. I had to. There were way too many negative Nancy's in there, and I wasn't going to let them ruin our day. So unfortunately, I had to turn the comment section off, which I hate to do. But that's why I wanted to do the broadcast as well, so that way you can ask some of your questions. Okay? Here is the ice map that we made. Now, I want to explain what I mean by serious, critical, and dangerous. Serious is like, hey, you need to be paying attention. This is serious. Have your backup plans ready. But maybe it's not like, critical or life-threatening, or you're not really in danger. Just stay off the roads and stay inside and you'll be fine. Kind of that's what I mean by that. And again, that's for the 1/10 to about 4/10 of an inch in that kind of pinkish area. And that darker pink contour where it says critical, Bowling Green, Campbellsville, Somerset, Williamsburg, Jackson, Richmond, Kentucky, going over there toward far eastern Kentucky and West Liberty. That's our kind of our critical state. This is where we expect more power outages to start occurring. Maybe some more stress on the infrastructure. A couple of trees maybe coming down as well from the stress of the ice. Guys, if you guys don't remember, ice is incredibly heavy. It will have no problems taking down trees or large branches. And of course, those falling create a concern, a critical concern. Of course, those without power, with the temperatures being 10 to 15 degrees outside, also creates a critical concern. So this is why I tell you folks, go online, go to your local EMA offices. If you can't find it, call your local EMA office. Again, they'll have the information on where the shelters are. Hopefully, they respect you enough to give you that information. I'm sure they will. A lot of our EMA offices across the state are very nice. Again, you can find all that information. You want to make sure you know where those shelters are in case you need to get to that. Also, for non-emergencies, make sure you call your EMA offices. And if it is an emergency, call 911. In that purple area, it's kind of where that danger zone is for us. Again, that's 0.7 to 1 inch of ice. Hopefully, you're on the lower side of that. But that's the area where we expect to see just widespread power outages. Likely a lot of people going to see a lot of trees come down. And once again, hopefully we avoid the worst. But again, you just have a high concern because we know what we've been through in Kentucky. We've had several ice storms here. Unfortunately, this is nothing new to us, but it never gets any easier or any better. So that's my highest area of concern, is in that purple area where the highest amount of totals were showing up on all that model data. Can that area expand? Yes, if we see more updates in that freezing range just continues to go up. Hopefully, we don't have to change this. I'm so tired of changing forecasts. But again, I'd rather change the forecast and give you guys realistic expectations rather than just leave a crazy forecast up and not be able to deliver on that. So here we are. That's how that breaks down there. I'll leave that up here for a second. I'm going to see if I can. Now we're going to get more toward the Q&A portion of the video. So if you don't want to be in here for the Q&A. Oh, the comments just decided to start working out of nowhere. Well, I at least have one comment anyway. Look, for some reason, it's just not. This is the reason where my comment section is. Oh, it's just suddenly starting to work. I got another comment. Oh, here we go. We got comments coming in. It just started to work out of nowhere. It's like someone just flipped a switch right there. Okay. I will tell you, though, I'm not going to answer every single location here 15 gazillion times. So please, if you hear me mention your location and you're wanting to know about that, please refrain from asking any more so other locations can get in and ask, okay? Let me take a drink of water before we get started on this. Kind of sounds like it's sleeting outside a little bit. All right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Brianna and Mike. I saw Mike in here as well. Just ban anybody that's even remotely. I'm not playing. I'm not. I feel like I've been nice a lot, and people are just trying to like push and push until they get banned so they can enjoy the ban hammer. Will this be sleddable on Monday and Tuesday? Most likely. And again, I want to point out, I hand make these maps, so they're not going to be 100% perfect like an AI robot did it. So if you see, like, for example, Lexington, half your county is included. Obviously, if you're in the northern half of the county, you're in no concern. Southern half of the county, you're in serious concern. If you're in white and you're that close to the serious concern line, just kind of act like you're in it. And because it's never bad, right? It's never bad to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, right? I hand make these maps. They're not going to be 100% perfect. Yes, Lebanon and Kentucky, we have some concern for icing down there. Make sure they have their backup plans and all their information. Is BG done with the snow, you think? No, probably some more on the backside, but I wouldn't expect a whole lot more. With heavy amounts of snowfall in Florence, no, I have no concern for outages in Florence. Of course, they can happen. I can't really predict power outages. But in those areas up in the far northern Kentucky portion of the area, there's no concern for power outages because snow is not going to stick on power lines. Light sleet in Radcliffe. I thought I was hearing sleet. Oh, you got to be kidding me. This is what I'm talking about. Like everything around it is snow, guys, and then you just have a sleet. It's just impossible to be 100% perfect on a forecast like this when you have that type of warm nose. You can't do it. You can't do it. And I'd rather tell you guys you can't do it than just lie to you and say we can, and then all of a sudden you can't. Okay, I kind of want to focus on more of the ice areas. Again, the snow areas, you're going to enjoy some snowfall, but again, you're not in any emergent danger from that. Unless you get out on the road and think your little Kia Prius can do donuts. Yeah, I'm a little bit of concern for Nicholasville. Again, on the lighter side of the ice amounts, but any little bit of ice always creates a little bit of concern. Up to Kentucky's in our serious, I believe, our serious kind of ice zone there. You had sleet in Shelby County an hour ago. It's going to go back and forth so much too, and again, that's why it makes snowfall totals just impossible to get right. Just impossible to get right when you have this sleet and snow just constantly battling. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to keep up with your comments, but they're going so fast. Now I can only see 4 or 5 at a time. Yes, I do have some concern for Columbia as well. Again, you're going to see a little bit of a period of the regular rain there, so not as concerned for power outages. There will still probably be some, but they will still be very slick. Yes, Gina, that's correct. Yeah, Eton's kind of on that line. I expect the southern portion of the southern half of Hardin County to probably see about a 1/4 inch of ice. And again, want to point out, guys, when we say ice, yes, sleet is technically ice, but we're talking about freezing rain. We're not talking about sleet. Sleet's a whole different kind of category. When we say ice, we're talking about freezing rain. I do not know anything about what WKU is doing, but I'm sure they're preparing for it. Make sure you guys give me some bigger cities that are near you too, so I can help answer you faster. It's impossible for me to know where every single small city is in the state. I love you guys, but that's impossible. So if you want your question answered, it's more likely to get answered if I know what city you're talking about. Yeah, McKee's not. I don't think McKee's in my danger zone, but they're in the critical zone. I'm trying to keep up with these comments. Vine Grove's probably not in my icing concern, but you could see a light glaze there. What are the odds of losing power in Litchfield? Again, I don't really get into like the odds and stuff, but you are in a little bit of concern for losing outage or for losing power there. Oh my goodness. Thank you for all the questions and comments, and I'm sorry if I'm not answering them right off the way. I promise you, I can only say like 4 at a time, and they're going so fast, I can't even read long sentences. Thank you guys again for all the shares that are you doing on the video as well. I appreciate you helping us spread the information. Bowling Green, yes, in one of our areas where we feel like you could be at a critical risk for power outages. Oh, my goodness. Yes, we do not recommend any travel from here on further. Once again, it's not, you guys, I always recommend this for travel. If you go look outside and your side road looks disgusting, don't go out. Yes, a little bit of concern for Morgantown. Again, for the power outages. Not as great of a concern for as these other places, but yes. How much ice in Danville? Anywhere between a 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch. Or 3/4 of an inch, I'm sorry. London, anywhere between a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of ice as well. Definitely a concern for power outages. Irvington, not as much of a concern there for ice. James, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. Bad ice for the Barstown area. No, I don't think it's as bad as the other areas, but you could see a light glaze. Can someone mute that Andrea person? I don't need 4 paragraphs taking up the comment section here. Somerset definitely at a concern for some ice. You're really close to that danger area. The reason you're not in that danger area is because you will get a period of regular rain, which will help take some of the pressure off those power lines, but that will still freeze on the surface and create a very slick surface. Yes, Jessica, that's correct. It will help a little bit. Do you think the storm will stay more on the dry side? No, it'll eventually kind of, I hate to say this word, but it'll eventually kind of explode with moisture because it's getting fed from the Gulf. Paducah's going to see that sleet. Paducah's going to be in that sleet and snow battle for the next 24 hours. I'm not sure where the Island, Kentucky area is. If you give me a bigger city near you, I can help you. Jana, thank you very much. I've already answered Somerset. I'll give that a minute before I answer that again. Christian County, Hopkinsville, definitely. By the way, thank you for giving me your county and your city. That's very helpful. Hopkinsville, definitely in that critical concern area. 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of ice. Very concerned. Again, there may be some more backside snow tomorrow for a lot of you. For some of you, you're not going to stop snowing. But for at least everyone in the state, there will be at least another period of snow. How much? Obviously, yet to be seen. Again, guys, it's if you want to get your question answered, it's best to keep it to about 4 words or less because I get like honestly, watch this stuff. Watch. I'm going to show you all. But you guys can't see that. But I want to just show you. Just so you guys can understand maybe help out a little bit. Look, and this is bigger than what I can see on the other screen. When I have it on the other screen, my other screen is smaller. I can only see like 4 or 5 of these at a time. And they go really, really fast. See? So I need to keep it to like 4 words or less, and you have in the bigger cities, and you'll have a better chance. I want to help as many people as possible here. Madisonville, Kentucky, Hopkins County, right on the edge there. Probably more sleet than anything. Harlan, Kentucky, definitely had a concern. That regular rain will help you a little bit on the power outages, but it will be incredibly slick. Bowling Green, definitely concerned for power outages and slick conditions, of course, with one of those higher ice amounts. Muhlenberg, between I think that 1/4 to 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit on the less side, probably closer to a 1/4 inch of ice there. Got some concern for power outages. Shepherdsville, I don't think the freezing rain really makes up to you all that much there. Richmond, definitely some concern for power outages, and with that kind of 1/4 to 1/2 inch, maybe up to 6/10 of an inch, I think you do get some regular rain that may help out a little bit. But once again, by the way, thank you for all the star donations. I can't read them right now because I'm answering the critical questions, but I see your donations, and I appreciate you doing that extra level of kindness. You don't have to donate, but thank you very much. Oh, my goodness. Brandenburg, Meade County, don't really see a whole lot of freezing rain concern for you. Faith says, do you think E-Town will have power outages? Maybe the southern half of the county. Again, I can't really forecast power outages, guys. It all kind of depends on how your power lines are set up, how good they are, so on and so forth. But yes, anybody that gets any bit of ice always has a concern for power outages, and of course, the more ice you add on to that, the higher the concern is. Edmonton is definitely one of my areas where I'm really concerned for power outages and infrastructure struggle. Keep an eye out, have your shelters ready, so on and so forth. And of course, obviously, we hope we avoid that scenario, right? Hopefully, we kind of end up with just all sleet. I don't think that's going to happen, but hopefully, we just end up with all sleet here. Scottsville, definitely some concern there for that. What was it? I think 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of ice. Again, definitely some concern there for power outages and infrastructure struggle. Dawson Springs going to be battling between that sleet and snow. Maybe a little bit of freezing rain there, but not a whole lot, in my opinion. Hopkins County, yes, again, definitely some concern there. Radcliffe is right on that. Someone asked about Radcliffe. It's right on that edge. You might get a small glaze, but I don't have a great concern for you. Moorhead definitely has some concern for some ice accumulations up to about 3/10 of an inch or so. How much ice for Lexington? Probably about 2/10 of an inch or so. 9 inches of snow in Williamsburg already? That cannot be true. Logan County, definitely some concern there as well. Ice amount Monticello, probably near 1/2 an inch. Barstown, probably about 2/10 of an inch of ice expected there. Corbin and Laurel County, probably about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of ice there. Luckily, a little bit of rain is going to help you out with kind of passing through those power lines a little bit. Taw County and Elkton, definitely some concern there, again, for power outages. Mason County and Maysville, probably going to be mostly a snow, maybe some sleet mixing in tomorrow, but mostly a snow for you in Maysville. Whoever keeps saying Manchester, can you give me your county? I'm not sure where Manchester's at. Love you to death, but I don't know where it's at. That's definitely sleet that's occurring outside, and that's irritating me. Gosh, it just makes it so difficult. I'm telling you, I'm more frustrated than you guys are. I'm telling you. Very low concern for Lexington, but I think Lexington ends up with more sleet and snow than freezing rain. Stevie, no major concern in Irvine there. Princeton, some concern for you with a little bit of a glaze, but I think you're battling more sleet and snow. London, definitely concerned there. 1/2 inch or so of ice, maybe a little bit more. Thankfully, you get a little bit of rain to help kind of get it off the power lines a bit. Campbellsville and Taylor County is definitely in one of my higher concern zones for power outages. Washington County's definitely at a little bit of a concern as well. Not as great of a concern as some of the other areas, but definitely a little bit of a concern for some ice. Okay, I gotta get some water here for a second. I'm gonna pause the questions for just a second. Woo, that's a lot of talking, man. Okay, Glasgow's definitely one of my higher areas of concern there. Probably one of the higher ice amounts projected in the state there. So definitely make sure you have backup plans ready to go. Thank you, Kaylee. I appreciate that. Pike County, not a major concern there. You're going to have a lot of regular rain move through at some point, going to help get ease up on the power lines. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate you. Bowling Green definitely at one of those higher concerns as well for some power outages because of the ice. How would power like ice freeze? Oh, that's a great question. So someone said, how would this cause power outages? Well, ice is incredibly heavy. When you get a light freezing rain or a freezing drizzle or a steady freezing rain, that freezing rain will stick and freeze on any surface it makes contact with. So eventually, some of those raindrops will make contact with those power lines, stick on that, freeze, and they're so heavy when they freeze, they start to pull the power lines down. And in a lot of cases, unfortunately, if you start to pile up too much ice on them, those power lines will get snapped. Thank you, Lexi. Okay. Yeah, so this is our ice map. Our snow map has been posted on the page a gazillion times. You can go find that there. Evansville, Indiana, mostly a snow for you. Maybe some sleet mixing in, but mostly a snow. Lawrence County, about a quarter to a half inch. Columbia and Adair, probably about 3/10 to 6/10 of an inch. You're right between that serious and critical, I believe. Or I think you're in critical, actually. So about a half inch, maybe a little bit more of ice. Definitely some good concerns for power outages there. Barstown's on kind of the flank of that. Again, I don't have a great concern for you, but definitely be taking this serious. Hardinsburg, I think you're going to be just north of that. You're mainly going to be battling sleet and snow. Yes, Breckenridge County, more snow and sleet. E-Town's kind of on the line. Probably going to see a glaze of freezing rain. E-Town's going to be one of those places that unfortunately sees everything. You're probably going to see a glaze of freezing rain up to about 3/10 of an inch. You're probably going to see 2 to 4 inches of sleet, and you're probably going to end up with 4 to 6 inches of snow, somewhere around there. So you're going to see a little bit of everything. That's correct. Lexington's on the line, more of a minor icing event. Frankfurt's just a little bit too far north of the freezing rain for me. I think you're battling more sleet and snow. McCreary County, definitely one of those areas where we're definitely kind of watching for some power outages and stuff. Jefferson County and Louisville, Kentucky, I don't have any freezing rain concern there. Again, I think it's more snow, a little bit of sleet there. Oh, also want to kind of remind folks that may be asking about timing. A lot of those changeovers will start to happen in the next few hours, and then they will slowly come north. So again, here is the radar. Let's take a pause from the ice map for a second. What? Okay, I think that's just the radar kind of freaking out a little bit there. Right now, it's trying to show freezing rain, sleet, and snow is all happening in Hardin County. I think that's just the radar kind of freaking out a little bit because there's just no way that freezing rain is there, right? Hang on, let me check. There's just no way. There's no way. So this is the part that's a little bit frustrating as well. So we know there's sleet happening in Hardin County, right? What I want to just teach you for 1 second, I know many of you don't care, but this is the freezing line. And this little kind of red, pink line right here where it says 0 and you kind of follow it up. The temperatures everywhere, even up in the atmosphere, a mile up, are still below freezing, but we're still seeing sleet. I just like to tell you guys that because it just shows you how incredibly difficult a forecast. This, I will tell you, I've done this for 8 years. I've been doing this for 8 years now. This is not the most difficult forecast I've ever had, but it's absolutely in the top 3. It is absolutely in the top 3. So again, I just had to check that out. So here, by the way, here's an update. That freezing rain is already into Williamsburg, Albany, Tompkinsville, Franklin, Russellville. It's creeping in on Bowling Green. It's creeping in on Somerset. And we're starting to see, so you kind of see some of those gaps are starting to get filled in now. This is it's almost go time. So again, looks like that line is starting to scoot up. And then of course, you have some just a little light sleet mixing with, it's mostly snow outside. So even though this is saying sleet, it's mostly snow. There I can hear some sleet happening. But yeah. So we have, of course, these kind of just again throughout the night here. This line, so you kind of see the freezing lines kind of right here, right? This line will continue to slowly drift to the north and should cut off somewhere like right here. Somewhere-ish. But you'll still see some sleet and freezing rain make it a little bit north of that line. So, again, it makes it incredibly difficult. It makes it incredibly difficult. I mean, it is so close to being an all snow. But that's not going to happen. And again, I want to point out, we expect precipitation to occur until all the way through Sunday night. So again, for those of you asking how long it may be lasting, we're not done with this thing until about 24 hours from now. About 18 to 24 hours from now. Okay. Do you have a time frame for Bowling Green? Again, it's obviously already knocking on your door, and once it starts, you'll have some brief breaks, of course, if there's a little bit of a dry slot or whatnot. But for the most part, it will continue until tomorrow night. Matter of fact, I think we may have some cameras down there. Just give me 1 second. I just want to see what's happening with our own eyeballs here. The camera that you see right now is out of Gage, Kentucky. Where's my website here? Here it is. By the way, here's E-Town, and the ice and sleet hasn't even started there, but you can see there's a little bit of a shimmer on the interstate there. It's I-65. It looks like the roads are already kind of freezing over. That's the only problem with the salt and the ice melt right now. It's just going to immediately refreeze as soon as it melts. I mean, I think it's pointless at this stage. But I want to take a look at some of these cameras down here. Here's one. Is this one working? Yes, it is. Let's do this one. You can already see some sort of ice is occurring. This is on Simpson County. This is in Simpson County at I-65, mile marker 0.5 on Simpson County Road, or 65, I'm sorry. You can see the camera there. It's already got a glaze starting to start over it. So you could tell that on the radar that you can see in the middle left portion of your screen, down here in Simpson County, that is actually freezing rain. So the radar is correct. I do respect how empty the interstate looks there. I will get to a few more of your questions here in just a moment. I just want to take a look at these cameras and verify what's happening here for us. I would pull up the Litchfield camera, but it is frozen over. It's got snow on it. Here is Gage, Kentucky, where they're taking a heavy snow ban right now. This is near Paducah, Kentucky, out in the western portion of the state, where they're taking a heavy snow ban. Here's a camera out of Whitley County if it wants to pull up. I don't think it's wanting to pull up, though. Oh, man, both of those cameras don't want to pull up. No, I wanted to see what was happening out in Whitley County. Why do I have these cameras down for? I got to text James, see if that's anything on our end or other people's end. This is Barron County right here. Again, I love it. This is on Louis B. Nunn Parkway, westbound at mile marker 3.4, and there's not a vehicle on there. Really great job, because look at how disgusting that looks. Look at how disgusting that looks. Okay. I'm going to pull up the Gage, Kentucky camera again, because at least it shows something of snow. Let's go ahead and pull up our main screen. And I'll put this into motion for you real quickly as well, so you guys can kind of see how this is moving. Sometimes the Weatherwise radar goes a little bit slow with the motion. It's loading, though. Oh, my goodness. Because someone ban the Robert person on YouTube, please. I'm so tired of hearing about the chemtrails. We get it, guys. Put your tinfoil hats off for a second. In Hardinsburg, yeah, we're working on that with Mr. Cam Lasley. I don't know if he's gotten those cameras to us yet, though. Nathan, probably going to be closer to an inch there, my friend. Kelly, thank you for the update there. I appreciate what you got. I appreciate the updates on what you guys are seeing. Is there a BG camera? Yeah, we have about 10 of them, but I clicked on 6 of them right there, and six of them were down. So I stopped kind of clicking on them. The red is the freezing rain, purple is a sleet, and blue is a snow. Paintsville definitely going to have some snow, or some freezing rain happening there, probably closer to a half inch or so. Again, some good concern for potential for power outages. Our snowfall maps, by the way, are on the page. I'm not really talking about the snowfall maps at this point because I think we've exhausted that, but those are on the page. Cindy, thank you very much. I appreciate that report out of Casey County. Sorry about that. The colors right now on your screen, the red is freezing rain, purple or whatever you want to call that color is sleet, and blue is snow. And of course, green is regular rain. Richmond, yes, there will definitely be ice there. Probably about a half inch or so, maybe a little bit more. Lexington ice potential, probably a light glaze to about a quarter of an inch. Not as great of a concern for you, but definitely anytime you're dealing with ice, guys, there's always some level of concern. How much ice expected in Scottsville? Probably closer to a half inch, maybe up toward 3/4 of an inch. Supposed to be flying into Louisville on Saturday or on Wednesday, driving to. Should I reschedule? Yeah, I mean, hopefully we've made some improvements on the roads by then. But again, guys, the temperatures don't come back above freezing until we get to like February. So again, it's going to be whatever falls here with us is going to be with us for a while. But hopefully we made some improvements by Wednesday. Elizabethtown, probably closer to a quarter inch there of ice. Mayfield, probably going to be more on the snow, sleet side. Maybe a little bit of freezing rain, quarter to maybe 3/10 of an inch or so of ice. Again, guys, for a lot of people asking, here's our ice map, by the way. We'll take a break from the radar for a second. Look at the ice map. Because at this point, I feel like we've answered a lot of questions, and people we should be getting an idea of what to expect. So I'm just going to pull on the ice map here once again. Russellville, probably closer to that half to 3/4 of an inch of ice there. Definitely some concern for power outages. Yes, Dylan, definitely. Probably closer to maybe 3/10 or 4/10 of an inch. The purple on that radar was sleet. The purple on this map is the danger zone. How much ice in Kimballsville? Probably about a half inch, maybe a little bit more, unfortunately. LaRue and Taylor County line, probably closer to about 4/10 of an inch. Yes, there will be a little bit of ice in Central City as well, probably between quarter and maybe a half inch, unfortunately. Yes, there will likely be a little bit of snow on the backside of this map. Tomorrow night, of course. For Monticello, probably, again, you're right to the west of Williamsburg. There's probably between 0.4 and 0.7 inches. Nick, thank you very much. I appreciate that. When will the sleet and freezing rain start in Bowling Green? Probably any minute. According to the radar, it's getting pretty close. Ice in Hardin, Kentucky, out in the western portion of the state. Probably about between a quarter to maybe 4/10 of an inch of ice there. Barron County, definitely a little bit of concern for some power outages there from a little bit of ice. Cecilia, Kentucky, probably on the lower end, closer to 2/10 of an inch of ice, but still obviously a little bit of concern there. Muldrow, the ice will probably be just south of you. You're probably battling more sleet and snow than anything. I have no idea where La Grande, Kentucky is. Thank you, Jeremy, for that report there. Yes, Hopkinsville will see about a half inch of ice. I probably won't change this ice map anymore, by the way, for people that are asking what kind of changes I could make. I probably won't change anymore. We're too close to the event to be changing maps too much anymore. Sarah, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, Wildcat. Yes, Angela, definitely a little bit of concern there. Stanford, Kentucky, probably not as much of concern there, maybe a quarter inch or so. It's in Bowling Green now. Diane, thank you very much for the update there out of Bowling Green. No, unfortunately, that I see a lot of people, kind of praying for a dry slot. That this is going to continue to fill in. We're getting fueled from moisture out of the Gulf, so these dry slots won't last forever. The purple on this radar here is the sleet. Tim, probably a little bit south of you is where the better ice potential is, but you can still see a glaze there. No, Carrie. Sleet and freezing rain and snow are going to kind of continue to battle all night. For some reason, though, it's right here in Hardin County, it's trying to show a mix of freezing rain and sleet and snow. Now it's trying to go back to an all snow here. This is going to be the problem. This is why I kept telling you guys the forecast, as much as I would love for it to be perfect, it's not. It's not. Because you have, better word here, you have crap like this that's just going to happen. Where you have, this should be snow. It's all snow all around it, but we have freezing rain and sleet here. Even though I go over here, right? I go over here and I check right here in that same spot, and I check the temperatures, and it's below freezing at every layer of the atmosphere, but it's still a mix, not just pure snow. And that's just because we have a southwest wind coming in. So even though it's below freezing, we have a southwest wind coming in. There's not as much lift here. At the moment, there will be here. And we're mixing with sleet and freezing rain in areas where it should be all snow. That's why the forecast is not going to be perfect. It's not. As much as I would love for it to be, it's not. Here's the ice map once again. By the way, this has already been posted to our page, so if you want to zoom in or look at this any further, this has already been posted to our Facebook and Twitter. West Liberty is probably closer to that half-inch mark, so definitely some concern there. Clarksville, Tennessee. I don't really cover Tennessee, but I think that's in the northwest by is that by Hopkinsville, Kentucky? If so, it should be anytime soon. And definitely expecting some half-inch reports there. Yes, guys, there's still more snow to go as well. There will be more snow on the backside. Snow will occasionally mix in with a lot of these precipits as well. So again, the snow machine's not over yet. Is there another big storm coming in after this one? There may be, but honestly, I have not looked too much at it. We have to get past this one first. Shoot, I want to be honest. We can't even get this one right, okay? I'm not even going to look at a second one yet. And that's not that I don't want to get it right or that, it's just, guys, that warm layer is brutal. It is brutal. And all of our models really suck at handling warm air overrunning cold air. Hey, if there's one thing about me, I'm going to be honest with you guys. None of us in the state, no TV outlet, no NWS office has gotten this right so far. 100% correct. Okay? None of us are. I told you guys this was going to happen. That's why I just kept saying, hey, prepare for the worst. Let's hope it's all snow. But let's prepare. When running the radar. Oh, this is just the last 15 minutes. For whoever was asking about time whenever I'm running the radar here, this is just over the last 15 minutes. Can you explain what you mean by critical zone versus danger zone? So, yeah, it's just the difference is obviously the danger zone has more ice expected. Critical, for me, means, hey, this is a serious thing. It could be a little bit critical at times where you have to leave and go to a shelter or you have power outages. Danger means that likelihood is even higher, that you may have to go to a shelter or that you may have power outages, and it's almost more of a, not a certainty, but very close. The red on this radar is the freezing rain, by the way. The new expected snowfall for Louisville, ours has pretty much stayed the same at 10 to 14 inches. How do they measure actual ice amounts on the ground? Great question. The easiest way to measure what we call ice accretion, which is the accumulation of ice, is to go outside, take a stick off of one of your branches off your trees or a bush or something like that, and you break that apart and you measure the diameter of that ice ring around your stick. For example, let's say this is my stick here, okay? If I were to break this apart, I'm going to measure how far out kind of the circle of ice is off of that stick. That's the easiest way. Murray, Callaway County outages. Yeah, you definitely have about a quarter to half inch of ice there. Maybe hopefully more sleet. You're right. You're kind of right on that line. But again, yeah, definitely power outages are obviously possible. There is some lightning with this storm system in about 5 to 6 hours. Some lightning will start showing up with the storm system on some of the model data. So there is the potential for thunder sleet, thunder snow, or thunder freezing rain. What's causing the clearing to the southwest behind Bowling Green? So that's a great question as well. So this was a two-part system. Let's stop that for a second, and I'll explain this for you real quickly. This was a two-part system. This over here was the snow we saw earlier today. It has gone out of here. That was part number one. That was always supposed to be, a small thing. This over here is not really a gap or dry slot. This is just kind of the secondary kind of piece of energy. All of this is a secondary piece of energy, and that's kind of moving up and over here to the northeast. At the same time, there's moisture coming in from the Gulf here that's helping to fuel this. So again, and they're just kind of now starting to really get going. So this is why you see kind of that gap there, but that gap will fill in. It will fill in over the next few hours. Put this back into motion here. By the way, anyone in E-Town or Barstown can confirm if that's freezing rain for me. I want to look at the camera real quick. I don't know if this is just a radar imperfection or, again, this is why we need more weather cameras. I don't know if this is a radar imperfection or if this is actually freezing rain. Hard to tell from the cameras, but I do see something falling out of the sky, and it doesn't look like snowflakes. It looks like rain. Matter of fact, you could almost tell what it is because these people are going a lot slower on this interstate than they were when we checked this camera 10 minutes ago. It's light sleet. Yeah, I know, but there's different areas here, so I'm trying to figure out. Cecilia has nothing going on right now. E-Town, wet, small snowflakes. Okay, thank you. I'm just trying to figure out if this is just a radar kind of or if this is a legit freezing rain that's happening. Okay. E-Town, very light snow. Okay, thank you. How much snow for Barstown? Again, our snow maps are on the page, guys. This is more of an ice broadcast here, but the snow for Barstown is probably closer to like 5 to 8 inches at this point. Nothing falling in E-Town. This storm was a huge bust. The storm has just now started on its second wave. Can you at least wait to hate on me until after it's done? Goodness gracious. Just came in from taking the... Okay, Jolyn, thank you very much. Yeah, I definitely hear the sleet outside. I definitely know there's some sleet. Hang on. Okay. Okay, I'm going to take the camera off now that we've kind of figured that out. Doo-doo-doo-doo. I hate that the E-Town camera keeps freezing for whatever reason. So we're just going to keep watching this Gage, Kentucky, which is near Paducah, which they've started to pile up some snow out there. I'm not even going to lie. I don't know how much it is, but just judging off of the camera I'm looking at, 3-4 inches maybe out there. If anyone's out there toward like Gage, Kentucky, that can let me know out there in the western corner of the state. When did you say the snow should all melt? This will be with us for a while. This will be with us for a while. So this is the new model run from the HRR model. It's still holding steady. It's still holding steady. Now, obviously, it's a very sharp cutoff. Look at this. Again, another reason it's really hard to be 100% perfect here. It's a very sharp cutoff. Showing Lexington at 7.4 inches of snow, which sounds about right. It probably a little bit lighter than that. But if you go, 50 miles to the south, boom, 3 inches. Really, really, really sharp cutoffs here. Here's another example. Shows Radcliffe. Now, my Radcliffe folks, do not take this verbatim. It shows Radcliffe at 13 inches of snow. If you go down towards Sonora, it shows 5 inches of snow. So a huge, huge drop off over like a very short, space. What I'm more concerned about is how much ice is it showing. Goodness me. So really still on par with the forecast that we made. That's going to be disgusting. Oh, that's going to be disgusting. All right. Tim, thank you very much. Is there going to be more snow? Sorry, I'm late. Yeah, there will be more snow on the backside, and of course over the next couple of hours as well. E-Town's going to get a little bit of everything: a little bit of sleet, a little bit of snow, a little bit of freezing rain. How does this compare to 2009? It doesn't compare. You guys got to remember, in 2009, it was below freezing for like 4 weeks, and portions of Kentucky had like 2.5 inches of ice. Nothing even close to that in this storm. For Lawrenceburg, the ice probably closer to a quarter, half inch or so. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate that. Thank you for realizing this is a very just chaotic mess. There's 3 different precip types happening in our state right now, and we're just now halfway through. I mean, look at Tennessee. Now, if we were in Indiana, who keeps stealing all of our damn snow, this is 2 times since this happened this winter, where this a system has just gone north, and Indiana's gotten all of it. And I have friends up there who keep teasing me about it. But if we were just in Indiana, this would be a very simple forecast. But, of course, we're here in Kentucky where there's 3 different precip types happening, a dry assault occurring. It's 15 degrees at the ground, but 33 degrees a mile up in the air. It's not easy stuff. It's not easy stuff. Cam, for Louisville snow-wise, I think my forecast is still on par for Louisville, 10 to 14 inches. I'm not sure where UBank, Kentucky is. Lexington probably going to get a little bit of everything as well. 6 to 9 inches of snowfall, a couple inches of sleet, maybe a 1/10 to a quarter inch of ice. Somerset's getting a good amount of ice. Yeah, I mean, I would say probably close to half, 3/4 of an inch of ice. People are going to be angry if this is a bust. Guys, look, we've talked about this a million times. The snowfall amounts are not going to be there. Okay, we've already admitted that. We're moving on. The impact from this winter storm will definitely not be a bust. No one's going anywhere. Whether you get 12 inches of snow or you get 6 inches of snow and 3 inches of sleet and a quarter inch of ice, it's a disgusting mess. And our temperatures are going to be stuck below 20 degrees for the next 4 days. And then, by the way, we have a reinforcement of the cold air coming in on Wednesday. So, I mean, it's disgusting either way. I will admit, yes, we went a little crazy with the snowfall totals, but that's what the data was telling us. And this took another shift to the north, and now we're dealing with freezing rain and sleet. I got you, Kentucky. Brenda, thank you very much. This is not a dry slot. Once again, guys, we told you guys if you watched any of the last 4 broadcasts, this was always going to happen. Wave 1, then a break, and then wave 2. You'll see this radar begin to fill in more and more and more over the next several hours. Morgantown probably going to be more snow than, or not, it's Morganfield, ain't it? I always get Morganfield and Morgantown messed up. Yeah, it's Morganfield. Morgantown, yeah, you're going to be probably looking at about a half inch or a little bit more of freezing rain, a lot of sleet. MVR, thank you for a $3 super chat on YouTube. Oh my God, look at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the camera. Not me, the other camera. No, don't miss it. Look at that. Well, okay, now it calms down as soon as I pull it up. Are you serious? As soon as I pull it up, it calms down. Look, if I'm not going to get snow, or a lot of it, I at least want to see it. I wish they put a measuring stick right in front of the camera. There you go. There comes some of it bursting back in. You guys think I get a check from Walmart or something? Jesus, the amount of people that think I work for like the big grocery chains today. I wish. Maybe I wouldn't be struggling to pay my tax bills. I am paying the tax bills, by the way. It just, they're a lot of money. Okay. Well, I better like add some clarity on that. God, the amount of people that told me today that this is all a big coup so Walmart and Kroger can make more money is just insane. How much snow for Ratcliffe? Again, our snowfall maps are on the page, guys. Probably closer to half a foot. Ice for Monticello, yeah, definitely on the table. A half inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of ice for Monticello. People are too serious. I know. And yeah, dude, yeah, I'm a snow lover, guys. I would have loved to have seen a major snowfall today for Kentucky. Unfortunately, that major snowfall is happening, but it's up here. It happens. By the way, we're not the only ones that feel like this, right? Remember, 4 days ago, this storm system on all data points was down here for Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, South Carolina, Tennessee. Now they're dealing with thunderstorms. Matter of fact, there's a tornado chance down here today or late tonight going into tomorrow. And that's how crazy different it's been. So we're not the only ones that feel like this. There's about 6 or 7 states down here, no pun intended, that got robbed of what they thought was going to be a big winter storm for them. And then it came to us, and we started thinking that way because all the data was telling us that. And then it just kept going north. It kept going north. It's gone so far north to the fact that New York is expecting more sleet than snow, which is almost not, usually heard of up there. Just happens. 4 days ago, Weather Underground predicted 21 inches for E-Town. Yeah, it just happened. All you can do is go off the data that you're given. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. I would say this, though. At least we're finally going through a winter that's actually winter and not dealing with tornadoes. I'm tired of having tornadoes in the middle of December and January. Okay. I'm not sure where Elliott County's at off the top of my head. McLean, probably closer to that 1/4 inch to half inch mark. Saying 6, 7. I'm sorry about that. The ice amounts in Lawrenceburg can cause power outages, but thankfully I think you're supposed to get a little bit of regular rain. Am I thinking of the right place? I'm not. I'm thinking of out here. I'm thinking, for some reason, I have this weird thing in my brain where sometimes I confuse. I don't know if it's dyslexia or what, but like, for example, I keep thinking Lawrenceburg is Louisa and Louisa is Lawrenceburg. No, Lawrenceburg, probably closer to that 0.2 of an inch of ice or so. More sleet than anything there, in my opinion. Ratty Hall said, how can you not be serious if you're thinking about it might be a week without power? I don't think that person was talking about that. I think they're talking about the fact that they think some people think we work for Walmart and stuff. As this big scheme to get them more money. By the way, Walmart's already rich beyond their wildest dreams. They don't care less if you go buy their bread. Like, be for real. Someone said it was possible to have thunder snow. Is that true? Yes, there is a little bit of lightning showing up. It's not an overwhelming possibility, but there is a small possibility that someone could see some thunder snow or thunder sleet or thunder freezing rain. Alex, thank you for your $2 super chat. I appreciate you. What about Hazard, Kentucky? Definitely a concern for some freezing rain out there. Thankfully, you're supposed to get a little bit of regular rain as well, which will still freeze on the surface, but it should help pass through the power lines. We kind of do work for Walmart. We have to check ourselves out. Yeah, I know. And I used to think self-checkout was a blessing until, that's all there are now. All there is now. And it's just like everyone with their 70 items is going through self-checkout, going about as slow as a snail. Once the ice is passed in southern Kentucky, will there be more snow after? There may be a brief period of some light snows on the backside, but I wouldn't count on too much more. No, it's not over. The second wave hasn't even started yet. Bowling Green is asking about their location there. Probably about a half inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice there, unfortunately for you. Power outages are definitely a great concern for that area. Is freezing rain where it comes down as rain that freezes on contact? Yes. So freezing rain is when it obviously rains and it's below 32 degrees at the surface. Corbin area definitely expects some ice concerns there. Same thing for Mercer. Berea, probably about a 1/4 to half inch of ice there expected. Russellville, Kentucky, probably a half to 3/4 of an inch of ice expected there as well. Again, guys, the second wave is kind of getting going now. It'll fill in over the next few hours, and it will continue to impact us until Sunday night. So we still have a long time to go here, folks. We still have a long time to go here. Okay, I'm going to take a break here, guys. We've been live for an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to take a break. I may do another late night broadcast tonight. I may just wait till tomorrow morning. At this point, the forecast is what it is. We put it out on the pages, so if you did miss anything in this broadcast, all the information is on our Facebook and Twitter. You can go read those posts, get the information there, or you can watch this video on playback whenever you would like. It's going to be posted to the page. You can watch this video on playback or do whatever you want, but the information is out there on all of our social media pages, is basically what I'm saying. So if I didn't get to answer your question, which I answered a lot of counties and cities, so at some point the odds are I probably answered your location in this video too. But if I didn't, all that information is on our pages, so you can go check that out there. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to look at some of this new data coming in. I'm going to watch the radar, look at the cameras, kind of see what's happening here. Again, stay patient. Stay patient. Have your preparations ready. Make sure you know where shelters are just in case there's a worst-case scenario. And again, just keep checking back for updates, all right? I appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for staying patient with us. I know this hasn't been a great forecast. I know it's been ever-changing. I know it's frustrating and exhausting. But I promise you guys, we're just giving you all the information that we have. I'm George Harbick, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you missed any information, you can go watch this video on playback here in just a few minutes once it gets done processing. Stay safe, Kentucky.